Mrs. Jackson, you are not her grandmother.
Got you.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I need order.
The only thing I could think about doing was going to get a bottle of Henny because it was on and popping now. Shit. I was not going to marry her.
You look like a man anyway. Shut up.
You shut up.
Can I talk, Your Honor?
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute.
After fooled into getting foolish by a married man, Miss Brown was desperately standing in court to fight for the paternal fight of her daughter's blessing. The irony was that the man she trusted wasn't only denying her child, but also any recollection of being with her.
We were married, and he will lie and say that we wasn't, but we were. He lies about everything, Your Honor.
Who married us? Can I see the paperwork?
Can I talk? What paperwork? I ripped it up. I'm not talking. Where were you? Where were you when I got married? You wasn't around, exactly. So when were you when I could see my daughter? You wasn't around.
Wait a minute. Ladies.
Yeah, ladies, take a breath. This is about a child. Screaming and blaming just proves nothing. Anyway, amid this mess, the judge was caught up in the fact that how Mr. Shinoster managed to get married to another woman while he was still married to the woman standing next to him.
How did you marry him if he already had a wife?
Because he didn't have a wife.
How
He
did
was married to
Me and
me
Miss
at the
Douglas was
time.
together, but we were not married. We were separated.
We met through a mutual friend, which we basically had a long distance type of relationship. We talked on the phone, we Facebooked, all of that. So we don't court. We meet, we get married. That's how it goes.
Don't court, get married right after meeting on Facebook? Bad move, Mommy, as it was clear how being this green had worked for the advantage of Smirkface Khan. The couple had gotten married over the phone, which the defendant denied, as in his words, Miss Brown seemed too fast for him.
I met her
Where
on
were you?
Facebook.
What?
We inboxed back and forth, and she was living in a shelter at the time, so we could meet, okay? I caught the train, got off the train, got in the cab. When I walked in, she said, "Here's your Abu." Abu is father. Talking to her 3 kids. I've never met her a day in my life. The kids like, "Hey Abu, hey Abu." She continues to walk straight to the back of the house.
You heard Mr. Shinoster. The plaintiff had all of her children calling him their father. But this testimony didn't sit too well with Mommy. The guy made some really insane remarks about the woman who was the mother of his potential child.
Now she's jiggling, walking towards me. I did consider, Your Honor, I did consider marriage.
friends told me.
The only thing I could think about doing was going to get a bottle of Henny because it was on and popping now. Shit. I was not going to marry her.
You look like a man anyway. Shut up.
You shut up.
Can I talk, Your Honor?
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Wow, aren't you so innocent after getting tempted by a strange little girl? And I'm sure even though he wouldn't admit to giving in, there was some fishy part that Mr. Shinoster was trying to hide with his loud babbling. We all know that judges look past such things quite well.
What I'm trying to understand is marriage or no marriage, you still say you had sex with her.
Yes, I did.
So-
I did have unprotected sex with her.
And it was unprotected.
Yes, unprotected. Unprotected sex.
Would you have unprotected sex with a Your Honor?
single.
When he came to my house, he came out. He came out.
Let's get some order.
Any woman would be pushed to the edge when she's treated like that. So Miss Brown kept shouting from the top of her lungs that her alleged father was nothing but a conniving liar who dumped her right after sleeping with her. After this, the judge asked the ori-eyed plaintiff about the pregnancy.
How soon after you ended the relationship with Mr. Shinoster were you intimate with somebody else?
6 weeks after.
And how soon after that did you find out you were pregnant?
When I found out I was pregnant, I was 6 weeks and 3 days. I had sex with another man 3 days before I found out I was pregnant.
And so when you found that out, did you immediately call Mr. Shinoster?
Yes.
And we all know how that revelation would have gone with Mr. I'm So Innocent. So as we had anticipated, Mr. Shinoster claimed that the other guy was the real father, because he was on the profile picture of the plaintiff, and there was no way that the baby was his. Nonetheless, all this was too much for his wife.
The boyfriend is the man that she's talking about, which is the same man that's on her Facebook profile picture with
Your
the
Honor,
baby.
Your Honor.
It's a family collage
Your Honor.
of this same man. That's the only reason I knew who this man was, is because I seen his face on Facebook
You
in
never
that family
saw him.
collage.
Ms. Douglas, I know this is difficult for you. If you need to leave the courtroom, you may be excused.
That running way made sense. Who would want to be part of such a mess? Coming back to the other guy in the picture, the outraged woman told the court just because Blessing's real father had refused to step up. Her boyfriend was falling into the void.
Your Honor, would you not take
of the
care?
baby.
That's what a stepfather is. When you step down, they step up.
So, Miss Brown, what you're saying is because Mr. Shinoster failed to step up, this other man did.
The same
and
man.
that's why maybe people mistake him for being Blessing's biological.
He's the
but he is
only
not.
one. Everybody knows.
I know, all of this is a bit confusing, but the real shocking bomb was still yet to come. It turns out that the defendant was trying to fool Judge Lake by going round and round in circles, which never works. We won't ruin it by telling you. Let's just show you.
Good-looking husband, beautiful wife equals good-looking babies. I'm just saying I love you and thanks you. Miss Brown, you respond, I love you too. Why are you thanking me? Laugh out loud. Mr. Shinoster says, for carrying my child. You never married her.
I never married her.
So why you say good-looking husband?
I chose wrong. I chose my words unwisely.
With all of that on the plate, the judge was all ballistic in the courtroom, and the defendant were not ready to put his guard down either, which led him to act in a frenzy that Jerome had to calm down.
She testified to the fact over and over again that you all had established a marriage, that you all had had sex unprotected. She could have
Yeah,
ever
because-
conjured up.
because
Hold
I don't even
on.
remember
Your
that.
wife clowned her back and forth that this ain't no way.
It's not.
No. Why then do you say good-looking husband and beautiful wife?
That's how I talk.
Apart from lying and making such a fool of himself on national TV, Mr. Shinoster's doubts had some ground. That's why the judge wanted to give him a fair chance for that. And no matter how much one might deny it, such ambiguity calls for DNA results.
In the case of Brown versus Shinoster, when it comes to 6-month-old Blessing Brown, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Shinoster, you are the father.
For some people, the very thought of their grandchildren is utter bliss. Unfortunately, Miss Jackson wasn't one of them, as the woman straight up refused to accept a baby girl at any cost. FYI, such stubbornness never leads to good ends.
Why did you initially accept the baby if you had doubt?
Your Honor, I never accepted the baby. That's a lie. I stated from day one, I do not believe this is my granddaughter. If I can bring you into my reality with
I
this
want to go
family-
in. Tell me what happened.
Okay, she came to my home with her mother and another family member. Let me remind you, this child was already 4 months old. I never even heard of this young lady.
Big Mama told the court that her son never mentioned the defendant or anything about having a child with her. Even though Miss Pickens was in love with more men at the conception time, she was still persistent that Miss Jackson's locked-up son was the baby daddy.
When I met him, I had a boyfriend.
Exactly.
Me and the boy stopped.
So she also said
Me
she
and the
was
boy
a cheater.
stopped.
Hold on.
Me-
When you met her son,
Yes.
you had a boyfriend.
Yes,
So somehow you get
Yes.
into a relationship with Miss Jackson's son.
yes. Like, we wasn't in a relationship. We were just
Exactly.
messing around.
Okay.
Me and her son was messing around
And
every
you had
day. Every day.
Listen.
Unprotected sex.
So they might not have been dating at all, but they were completely in each other's hair. However, it got revealed that after breaking up with the alleged father, the defendant chose to mess around with another guy, who was her first pick as daddy.
At the time your child was conceived, having sex with any other man,
As
Miss
for me,
Jackson's son, and
The boy who I was going with after him.
and you thought he was the father
Yes.
at first.
Yes.
The guy that was after Miss Jackson's son.
Yes.
Did you get a DNA test with him?
No, man.
Yeah, seems like Markel changed her mind. But the question was, what brought such a change of heart? In Baby Mama's defense, it was Miss Jackson's son who kept pushing that he was the father. Did the plaintiff know about this?
He's saying this is my baby.
Yes.
So-
he ain't never denied it. If he did, he denied her around them.
Your Honor, I will agree.
So you think they look alike?
Yes.
Your
They
Honor.
look just alike. That's her
My son
twin.
looked like Sonia.
And no, he
Yes,
don't.
come
He
on.
don't
My son
look like
looks more
me.
like her than he does
She
me.
said her son look like me. No.
Yes.
No.
Can you stand up and turn to the court?
No.
That look more like her son than mine. Come
No.
on.
Clearly, all of this wasn't convincing enough for the Gram, for her child looked like her mommy and her family. Nonetheless, she kept mentioning that mommy had accepted the child. So when the judge implored the plaintiff for this, Miss Jackson went on like this.
I never
Say-
established
say-
a relationship with this child.
say-
We got
give
text
her a lie to
messages
text.
that will even sit up
Lying,
here and say, I never
lying,
established a
lying.
relationship.
I'm
That
just
child been to
saying,
my house
if
3
I-
times.
if
that's the case, Your Honor,
Listen, we can either get this resolved or y'all can
can.
go on back home and act a
can.
fool in the street because you're not
can.
going to act it up in here. I am serious.
The judge has a point. Acting like streets weren't going to help anyone. To find the truth, they had to behave civilly. That's why the judge asked Jerome to stand between both stands. So it was established that the plaintiff had made no effort whatsoever to warm up for the child.
You're saying you didn't establish a relationship because you never truly believed this was your son's child, but the child has been to your house on several
3
occasions.
occasions because my son wants to get her. There's no relationship, and she.
So you
even-
do acknowledge that your son felt like.
Yes, I will say that.
Nicole further added that the scheming mother had even gone to the length of faking a pregnancy test to nail her son as the man. That's an accusation now, isn't it? But the plaintiff kept pressing that the not-so-real babies were twins, because the mother of the real grandchild was pregnant with twins.
About faking a pregnancy, stated she was pregnant with twins when she found out Aaliyah was pregnant, and come to find out that's a lie because her mother told me it was a lie. She acted like she was in the hospital when she really wasn't, Your Honor, and she gave me a bogus number stating that it was the hospital number and it went to a cell phone. What hospital have a voicemail? When she found out Aaliyah was pregnant, she is very jealous of Aaliyah.
Whoa, grim of jealousy is the reason that baby is in this wrangle? But who would put their own child's future in jeopardy just out of envy? I find that hard to buy. But anyway, let's watch what happened next.
Why did you lie?
Yes, I did lie because I was kind of hurt. I was hurt because at the time.
So you did it to get back at him.
Yes.
But you now have to understand why your
Yes.
credibility is about shot.
I know.
Why another woman, another person, or a judge
Gonna
might
feel the
not
type of
believe
way.
what you're saying
Yes.
when you make up an entire pregnancy story that
Yeah, I
you then
know.
have to admit was a lie.
Yes.
Okay, now even I think that baby mama is just making the whole thing up. And the judge was mixed too. That's why Judge Lake called Miss Pickens' mother, who also stood firm on the defendant's testimony. She even went to the length of accusing the grandma at the opposite podium.
To me, she looked just like hair, eyes. She does looks like this little boy done lived with me for about a month because his mother put him out.
Exactly. When he doing
He didn't have nowhere to
activity,
go. But I had a picture of Kevin, her, his little brother, and his dad, and they all look the same way.
Miss Dates even told the court how she herself confronted her daughter to make sure she wasn't pinning the child on the wrong guy. But Markel assured her mother that another possibility was not the father. That's why Sonia was standing in the courtroom defending Miss Pickens.
I asked her at one time, you know what I'm saying? Because she didn't have no features of this other guy.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
All
then
right.
when she told me, she never said Kevin. She said somebody else. Didn't happen, so Kevin came around, and that's when I started seeing her features. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, she do. She got
So
nappy
you
hair
went
like
off
him.
of the fact that you felt like they resemble. Okay.
Right.
Thank you so much. You may be seated.
The judge had listened to both sides with patience and had reminded them that this trial wasn't about them, but rather about the child. The good thing was that Miss Jackson came forward and claimed to take care of the child if DNA proved relatedness. Let's see if she keeps her words up.
When it comes to 1-year-old baby Josiah Pickens, Mrs. Jackson, you are not her grandmother.
Got you. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I need order.
Honest and straightforward, Mr. Buchanan was already duped twice into a paternity trap by 2 of his ex-girlfriends. Learning the truth the hard way, baby daddy refuses to fall for the same thing again. Let's see if the third time is the charm or not.
The first 2 times, DNA testing proved you were not the father. And you now doubt your girlfriend, Miss Stembridge's 6-month-old daughter, is yours. You state she is engaged in sexual affairs outside of the relationship, including with your former friend and roommate.
Yes, Your Honor.
So the judge started out with the doubt part. Apparently, New Bern was sure that his girlfriend was floozy and he even claimed that she had slept with one of his friends, and he found the bitter truth like this.
The day after I was incarcerated in a jail under false pretenses, they had the wrong person, and while we was in the car, he had bought some food, and I said, I was eating it, and he was like, why are you eating all my food? And I'm like, I don't care, so I threw it in the back seat at him, and he's like, new girl, why you locked up?
Well, there goes the "I slept with your girl" comment rubbed in his face really hard. Prior to this information, Miss Stembridge herself had confessed about having a drink with her baby daddy's friend, because she was lonely with Mr. Buchanan being locked up.
I don't care if it's a supermodel. You ain't drinking with somebody that's supposed to be my best friend. You had the right to say no.
Miss Stembridge, or are you blaming your best friend?
I'm blaming her because she knew better. He was single. I don't blame him for nothing. Single man do whatever he wants.
Wow, isn't that a little too much? You would just only blame your girlfriend like that. I know that's weird, but hold up, as there's more coming. And it's got 2 words: lemon drops. Well, it was the tonic to get the baby mama in the mood. And once he saw that, he went bananas.
When you walked in and you saw the drinks out, in your mind you thought she's drinking with him again, and she said that was only a one-time thing.
Okay, check it out. She told me about the beer. So when you picked me up, why didn't you fair warn me about the liquor before I got home? Why are you gonna let me find out by myself? Because you forgot.
I didn't forget too much. It was still there, weren't it?
Baby mama claims that she's got nothing to hide, and she's been honest all the time with her man. However, after that, things just got worse between them, as even his ex-girlfriend tried to warn him that his best friend was stabbing him in his back by sleeping with his woman. That's why the judge called her in to testify.
Have my back.
Why are you mad, Jessica?
Have my back since day one.
I ain't talking to you.
What exactly did you witness?
Did I witness when I walked in? All I saw was in the air.
Okay,
On his bed, the
better
head of
language in
his
the court.
bed.
You
I'm sorry.
walked in and saw what?
Booty in the air. At the head of his
Booty in there,
bed.
reflection out miracles.
Oof, this woman is just a human hurricane. You saw how she entered with a bang? That is clear animosity there. While she was testifying, Miss McNeil used all sorts of non-court language, which infuriated the baby mama. Both women showed no sympathy for each other, even though there was a baby involved in the mix.
This is the door to Eric's room. I walked in, standing right there.
Nope, that's a lie, Your Honor. Because I would have seen her. I ain't never seen this girl in my life.
You ain't never seen me in your life.
No,
That's
but
a lie.
pictures in his
Look,
phone.
look.
Pictures in his phone.
Yeah, in his phone.
See, that's
right,
wrong.
in his
I
phone.
weren't even
That's
laying
right.
that way. I weren't even laying that way.
Whatever the witness was proposing, the defendant begged to differ from it. According to her, such an incident never took place. But to make her case stronger, Miss McNeil added the reference to the lemon drop. Yeah, I know. There it goes again.
All I saw, her head towards his closet and booty in the air.
No.
A liquor bottle right here on the counter. I took a shot myself. That was about. That's right.
While you were at it.
That's right.
Hey, what was you drinking, Heather? What was you drinking?
Lemon drops. I ain't never had one. Ain't never had one, but they good. They're good. I drink them now.
All right, whatever that proves, because for me, it's just mindless to and fro. Anyway, the baby mama stood firm that the plaintiff and his ex-girlfriend were just making things up, and that Mr. Buchanan was the father of her baby girl.
I've never known Heather to never come over to Eric's house and not come in his bedroom.
That's right.
Every time when I was dating her, she's always came in his bedroom.
To show up at Eric's house. Ask
you
him.
did.
I won't
You
call.
did.
Yeah, I
You did,
showed
though.
up one time and she was there. They wouldn't open the door. That's why she claimed she ain't never seen me.
Closed.
And it
The
was
front door. They wouldn't let me in the house because you was in there.
Check this out. Though the man loved his little girl and wanted to be the biological father, even mommy claimed that he was a great father, and that if it was up to her, she wouldn't pick anyone else to father her beautiful baby girl, which we know most rightfully calls for that envelope.
In the case of Buchanan versus Stembridge, when it comes to 6-month-old Sophia, Mr. Buchanan, you are her father.
Thank you.
That's a blessing.
After 2 decades, imagine the shock of discovering that the man you believe to be your father is now denying his paternity. It's utterly bewildering, isn't it? Poor Miss Tucker finds herself in this very situation, standing before the court, desperately trying to prove that her father is indeed her biological parent. Will she triumph in this legal battle and reclaim her father's love? Let's dive into the emotional roller coaster.
Miss Tucker, you believed another man was your dad until a bomb was dropped on you 10 years ago when your mother admitted that the defendant is your biological father. You opened your case to prove to Mr. Hunter that he is your dad. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge Lake couldn't help but notice the struggle in Miss Tucker's eyes as she fought back tears. Raised with the belief that her father played no role in her upbringing, she was led to believe his presence didn't matter. But let's pause and reflect. Shouldn't every person have the freedom to seek out and connect with their true roots? It's heart-wrenching that Miss Tucker had to accept this for a whole decade.
What do you do after that?
His sister didn't come get me again after that, but I did go home and I talked to my mom about it, and she told me it did not matter because she was my mother and father and he didn't do anything anyway. And so I just accepted it as that. My mom's always did her best with me, and I grew up with a great family, so I just took it as if it was his laws.
Curiosity piqued, Judge Lake turned to Mr. Hunter, questioning when he discovered the child wasn't his own. Surprise, surprise, it turns out he had known the truth since the child's birth. He confessed that upon hearing this news, he vanished into thin air, only to resurface 15 or 16 years later.
When she got pregnant, you were told.
Yeah, and she told me the child wasn't mine.
What was your relationship like with Miss Tucker? You were dating exclusively? You were boyfriend and girlfriend, or just...
Yeah, for a short while.
Okay.
Yeah, for a short while. But when she told me she was pregnant, she said the baby wasn't mine. I left and I got my life together.
Hold on tight, folks, because things are about to take a grotesque turn. Even though the child was undeniably Mr. Hunter's, Adriana, the mother, told him she wasn't his daughter, prompting him to flee. But wait, it gets even crazier. When he returned, fueled by swirling rumors, he ended up with Adriana's own sister. Talk about a mind-boggling twist. Both Adriana and Mr. Hunter seem to have lost their grip on reality.
He left after you said the baby's not yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you told everybody else that you thought you confided in, and people had thoughts that the baby might be his, but you told him she wasn't.
Yes, Your Honor.
He's gone. But during that time, and that would have been almost 20 years ago.
Yet, amidst the chaos, Miss Tucker emerges as the epitome of strength, taking matters into her own hands, determined to unravel the truth and set things right. Let's applaud her courage. After all, she's the one who has endured the most in this tumultuous ordeal. Judge Lake, touched by Adriana's plight, extends a sympathetic gesture and requests the envelope.
I feel like both of them are just kind of nonchalant about it because this is the most I've heard out of all of this time. It took for me to have to take matters into my own hands to get both of them here and answered, and it should not have happened like that, I feel like. I just don't think it should have happened like that.
Yeah.
And now, the moment we've been waiting for, the verdict. Brace yourself, because it may not be the outcome Adriana desired. Alas, Mr. Hunter is proven not to be Miss Tucker's biological father. It must have shattered her heart. Yet she displays remarkable resilience, asserting that her sole intention was to uncover the truth, allowing both parties to move forward without further interference.
Mr. Hunter, you are not the father. I'm sorry, Adriana.
It's okay. I just wanted answers so that I don't have to keep interrupting his life or, keep going through this in my own life.
Get ready, folks, because this case just took an unexpected turn. The real question is, could either the deceased man or his own brother be the father of this child? Seriously? How could Miss Brogdon have relations with both brothers simultaneously? Now, this might either pique your interest or leave you utterly disgusted. Proving to the deceased man's family that this child belongs to them won't be a walk in the park. That's for sure.
Miss Sugden, you say without a doubt that your brother did not father Miss Brogdon's daughter. You say the stress of her accusations have affected your mother greatly and is preventing her from healing after the loss of her son. Is that correct?
Fast forward a bit, and things are getting even more complicated. Mr. Brogdon dropped a bombshell claiming that Tiana knows Paul isn't the father, but Tyrell is. However, Tiana insists that Tyrell might be the father. Meanwhile, Tiana is primarily concerned about her family and the turmoil they're enduring due to Timsha's accusations against her brothers.
It's affecting our family too much. We need to get this over with.
Because he has guilt because he knows he slept with her.
Yeah, and it's a possibility, that he could be the father.
He was upset about taking the test because he know he's not my baby father. I heard that story from a family member.
So today's test will reveal which of the two brothers is the father of your child?
Two women in the courtroom, and they're both losing their minds, shouting at the top of their lungs. Timsha simply wants them to step up and take responsibility for the baby. However, the sister and mother believe it's unfair to put their family through such stress. But let's be real here. That's not a good enough reason to abandon an innocent child.
Right then and there, y'all could have got a DNA test done on that day. Why didn't Mish call? Why is she going through you all the time? She's a grown woman. You're right. Why did she go through me? But
y'all
going through you about every single
Y'all
thing.
hate me. But
you're a grown woman. If you want somebody to help you with
true.
your child, you be a woman about it.
The same way how y'all on Instagram talking about me and my child, my innocent child that don't have nothing to do with the situation.
Ladies.
Finally, after what feels like an eternity, the results are in. Brace yourselves, because Paul is not the father, but Tyrell is. Now, here's the real question. Will they embrace this baby as their own niece? Will they find it in their hearts to love and support her? It's their moment to step up and take responsibility, to make her an integral part of their family.
In the case of Brogdon versus Sugden Jones, pertaining to 17-month-old Quamira Jones, it has been determined by this court. Miss Christina Jones is related to Quamira Jones.
Hold on to your seats, folks. We've got a shocking and downright disgusting case on our hands. Brace yourselves for the jaw-dropping details. Miss Parker claims Mr. Morton is the father of her 7-month-old baby. But the twist? She thinks he's shirking his responsibility because his current girlfriend turned him against them. Is this the truth? Or is there another side to this?
Miss Parker, in your suit, you claim Mr. Morton fathered your 7-month-old son, Aaron, while in a relationship with his current girlfriend.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say the only reason he denies paternity is because his girlfriend turned him against you because she's been unable to conceive a child with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Whoa, hold up! Did you just hear that bombshell? Get ready to have your mind blown. The judge asked how Miss Parker and Mr. Morton continued their affair while he was in a committed relationship. So brace yourselves. Miss Parker was involved with both Mr. Morton and his girlfriend, Mrs. Lemon. That's right, folks, a love triangle.
First of all, Your Honor, that's my baby father. Anytime I want to have sex with him, I'm going to have sex with him. I was vulnerable. He called me. We did what we did.
So, hold on. You have a child with Mr. Morton.
Yes, I have a 5-year-old son.
And he's not the child in question.
No, Aaron is.
But you also still continued a sexual relationship.
Yes, with the both of them.
Things got confusing when Miss Parker mentioned a previous miscarriage. Here's the scoop. She was married but got pregnant by her boyfriend and had a miscarriage. How does it relate to the current situation? The judge had to dig deep to make a fair decision. Talk about a complex web of relationships.
Before my boyfriend went away, I was pregnant by him. That's what they're getting confused. I had a whole miscarriage, Your Honor. A whole miscarriage by this man.
Now all of a sudden.
You were pregnant.
Before,
but
this was before though. This is before I got pregnant
He was
again.
only locked up.
You're right. He wasn't even away when I was pregnant. I was.
But you
But I
miscarried.
miscarried.
Now, let's delve into Mr. Morton's disbelief. When Miss Parker revealed her pregnancy at 8 weeks, he didn't buy it. Could it be because of her previous pregnancy? The judge questioned his doubts. And guess what? He still had them. Was this the reason for his lack of involvement during the pregnancy? The plot thickens.
I was 8 weeks pregnant when I got that sonogram, and I went home and I gave him the sonogram to let him know we got a baby on the way.
What was your response, Mr. Morton, when she told you we have a baby on the way? That
What she had told me.
you still had doubts. Did you participate? You have a child with her already. Did you
Yes.
participate in the birth? Were you there through the pregnancy?
I didn't
Were
go
you-
to none of the appointments.
Hold on a minute. Did Mr. Morton really let his girlfriend disrespect his mother? Unbelievable, right? Was it manipulation, or does he think his mother deserves disrespect? Regardless, interrupting others while they're talking is never okay. And seriously, using his mother's lack of involvement as an excuse for disrespect? Weak argument.
As far as support system, it was me and my daughter, which is Eric's sister,
And her
Mr.
mother.
Morton's sister.
And her mother.
And excuse me, I'm talking.
It don't matter.
It does.
It don't.
So therefore,
Did you just let her disrespect your mother?
Yeah, real bad.
I'm sorry, I had to catch that.
Come again?
Honestly, I don't even know why she over there. She don't do nothing.
It doesn't matter.
Drum roll, please. The moment we've all been waiting for, the results. Mr. Morton is confirmed as the father of Miss Phillips' baby. He'll need to pay half the expenses incurred so far, totaling $993.50. Now, here's the big question. Is that enough? Shouldn't a father be actively involved instead of trying to escape? Food for thought, my friends.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Parker versus Morton, when it comes to 7-month-old Aaron Morton, you are Aaron's father.
Thank you. I told you. I'm not no. Come on. Thank you. I need that paper so I can go down child support tomorrow morning when I get up.
Mr. Brown is refusing to believe that he's the father of his child, simply because the baby was born prematurely. This is a ridiculous reason, and it's clear that Mr. Brown doesn't understand science. Or does he have another reason for doubting the paternity? This relationship is on the verge of breaking, but will Mr. Brown stay if he finds out he is the real father? He's also asked for a lie detector test. So what does he think Miss Parker is hiding?
I feel like that I need to be free because at the end of the day,
I wasn't doing anything.
What you mean? I be stuck with the baby 24/7, honey. I was with my friend. He would not let me have no friends.
I let you have no friends.
He won't let
Oh
me
my
have
God.
no
You crazy.
friends. I cannot even step out my friends to go have a dinner.
Mr. Brown's doubts are apparently based on the fact that Miss Parker got pregnant in June, but the baby was born on January 5th. He's done some research, and he believes that even as a premature baby, the baby should have been born in February. But is he right? Or is he just looking for an excuse to deny paternity?
When was Malachi born?
He was born January 5th.
And take me back, you said, what about this time of this birth didn't add up to you?
I did research, and I found out that full-term pregnancy is between 39 and 40 weeks. And if you got pregnant in June, the baby should have been born probably in February.
So you guys met when?
We met
First, I found out I was pregnant June 4th on his birthday.
Mr. Parker is stepping in to defend his daughter. He believes that Mr. Brown has trust issues, and he thinks that the baby looks like Mr. Brown, so he should be able to see through his doubts and accept the baby. Mr. Parker is urging Mr. Brown to step up and be a man. Today, let's find out if Mr. Brown is actually the father.
I mean, it's just crazy. Like, I don't even know why we're here today.
Yeah, why are you here?
Why are you here? I mean, obviously, you know that's your baby.
Hairline.
My hairline is straight. His like an arrow.
All right,
What you mean? That don't mean nothing.
hold on. Miss Parker, Mr. Brown.
I mean, obviously, you know that's your baby. It's time to step up. Be a man. Do what you have to do for your child.
Miss Parker is crying, and it's heartbreaking. She wants Mr. Brown to stay in her baby's life because he's the only father the baby has ever known. She doesn't want her child to grow up without a father.
I mean, whether he's not or is the father, I feel like I still want to sign the birth certificate because he been there since day one. He's the only man like I love, and like I don't want to be with nobody else but him. Malachi, he's the only face he's seen, like he ain't seen no other guy, and I don't know, like I don't want to interfere with their relationship and their bond.
The lie detector results are in. Did Miss Parker sleep with anyone else during their relationship? The lie detector says no, so she was telling the truth. That means that Mr. Brown is the biological father of her child, right? This is a gripping story with a lot of suspense. Will Mr. Brown finally accept that he's the father of his child, or will he continue to deny paternity? But one thing's for sure, this is a story that will keep you on the edge of your seat.
Mr. Brown, you are not Malachi's father. I'm sorry for you both. I know you wanted a different result. I'm gonna give you both a moment to compose yourselves, and then I'm going to meet you in my chambers. Okay. Court is adjourned.
In this courtroom showdown, Miss McKinney had one goal only, to prove Mr. Davis was her biological dad, and stakes went through the roof for her. But hold on to your DNA kits just yet, because this case was only getting started.
Since I got diagnosed in 2015 with ovarian cancer, I felt the need that I need to find out who my children's grandparents are. So if I passed away, I just want them to have a family that.
How long have you believed this was your dad?
Well, my mother told me that her ex-husband was Michael Davis, is my father.
Let's rewind a bit, shall we? Baby mama and dada shared a romance more confusing than a Christopher Nolan film. They had a marriage, though it seemed more like a cameo appearance than true love.
Back then, they were married. So by law, back then, if you were married, then that's your child's
Then
father.
that is you are the legal father to a child born in the marriage.
Pretty much, that's what I was told.
And you are correct. I did not realize they were married at the time. So
They lived together. My grandparents bought them a house because they were pregnant with me, what I was told.
All right.
Moving on, the alleged baby daddy shared his wedding adventure. These guys got married, and then there was a sudden exit. Oh yeah, Mr. Davis got a surprise of a lifetime on his wedding day.
The day we got married, I took off and we got married and I had to go back to work. And so once I finished my shift off and I went back home, I acknowledged my wife and 2 other guys. She in bed with 2 other guys. At that point, I left. I realized that things was not gonna work out and I didn't see her no more after that.
So, their relationship didn't survive the storm. Moving on to the time the plaintiff got to know about her father, it appears that fate played its role, and she got to meet him. However, the rainbows and sunshine soon faded after a couple of years.
I feel like when my grandmother died, his mother, which she also believed I was his child. After she died, it was like things changed. Like all of a sudden, then I'm not your daughter. You tell other people that I'm not your daughter, but you tell me you didn't know at first, you had doubts, but then you knew yourself that I was your child.
And
like,
so
privately.
Next up, Miss McKinney shared a couple of pictures that were just her desperate attempt at finding some resemblance with the family. While the poor girl didn't have a father on her side, she did have a grandmother.
You also submitted a picture of you, and this is Mr. Davis's mother.
Yes.
And you feel like you saw a resemblance there as well.
Me and my grandma was close.
You were?
Yes.
And she accepted you?
Yes.
Next up, we get to know that the defendant believed it was the people that put this in the plaintiff's head, and he never once accepted he was the real deal. On the other hand, he believed someone else to be the father of this girl.
It's always been Michael Anthony Davis is your father from everybody. Even other men that's supposed to be the father, they always said Michael Anthony Davis is your father.
Mr. Davis, you believe that this man we're speaking about, Mr. Williams, could be Ms. McKinney's biological father.
I'm not for sure about that. I don't know. I really don't know.
Too.
Enter Mr. Williams, the guy who had been present throughout the life of the plaintiff. And he had some startling testimony to share. But he wasn't the only witness in this case. Mr. Davis brought along his wife as well. Things were heating up.
Did her mother ever tell you you were her biological father?
No, her grandmother says that she looked it like me. And then me and her mom had problems and I left. When she was about 18, she lived around the corner from me and we didn't know it. And we reunited and we've been together ever since. I still treat her like she's my baby, you know.
With all this family drama that's been going on for years, one thing was sure, that Miss McKinney deserved to know her real father. And Judge Lauren Lake had that answer for her. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. Here goes nothing.
Mr. Williams, you are not her father. Mr. Davis, you are not her father.
I'm sorry for putting you through this. No.
So, Mr. Ahmad, our dear plaintiff, thought he hit the parenting jackpot, only to be crushed under a shocking revelation. But now he was here, ready and charged to get his baby girl back. Buckle up, it's a wild ride.
You say you were overjoyed to be a father after the birth of your first child, 22-month-old Nevaeh. However, you claim that you were crushed when the defendant later told you another man could be her dad. You are here today to prove you are Nevaeh's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, the baby daddy was over the moon with the baby news. And by the looks of it, the poor guy had been waiting a long time for this to happen. So the doubts and reservations surrounding the whole situation were killing him.
This is to be my first child, so I was overjoyed. She was high risk, so she couldn't work. So what I did, I tried to do as best as a man that I could do to
And
help.
you all were in what kind of relationship? Committed, or were you just casual friends, or what?
Boyfriend and girlfriend.
Boyfriend and girlfriend.
Whether baby daddy was happy or not, mommy, on the other hand, had a ton of commitment issues. She was calling it a friendship, but did not feel the love and whatever these guys shared. Ouch! It's like a romantic comedy, minus the romance and the comedy.
I told him the truth from the beginning, that she might not be his. He wanted to be her father, and he would be there for us.
Talk to me about the relationship from your point of view.
It was more of a friendship for me. I loved Mr. Ahmad, but I wasn't in love with him. It was just, he was there for me, and I needed somebody to be there for me.
Ahmad's heart is swelling with joy over the prospect of being a dad. But Day? She's whispering doubts in his ear, questioning his paternity skills. It's a heartbreak in the making, and someone's gonna need a pop culture-sized tissue for this emotional roller coaster.
We argued so much, I never lived with him. Like, he would, when I spent the night, some nights he would kick me out at 2 in the morning.
Why are you so upset now? Because you feel...
I just feel like he trying to make me seem like a bad person when
No,
he
ma'am.
know that
No,
I
ma'am.
told him this might not
No,
be his
ma'am.
baby.
Hold the phone now, because it appears the plaintiff was not a goody two-shoes either. Oh yeah, Miss Day was spilling some real tea over his behavior with her, though the baby daddy was having none of it. Cue the dramatic music, please.
She's been.
That's
I,
not
I
true.
went to work.
When I told
work,
him,
and I
he was
came home.
intoxicated, and he kicked me out the same night that I told him.
I disagree with that because now I feel like you're trying to make me feel some kind of way because if I was such a good friend, a friend doesn't do that to a friend.
Now, while Mr. Ahmad was living in a she might be my nightmare, he was still involved in the whole journey. However, Mommy did not want him to sign the birth certificate. Any guesses what he did?
The entire time she was pregnant, I cut the umbilical cord, I signed the birth certificate. After the baby was born, we left the hospital together. Matter of fact, her mother picked me up to go have when the baby was being delivered. Her own mother drove me to the hospital.
Moving on, the judge dug deeper into hospital protocol and uncovered some very interesting information. According to that policy, the father can only sign if the mother provides the necessary information. Fasten your seatbelts. We're diving into birth certificate chaos.
So you gave the child his last name?
Yes.
Do you remember the nurse saying, "Are you the father of the child?" And you said yes.
We were at an administration desk, and she asked me, "Where's I the father?" I said, "Yes, I'm the father." We were in a
I
relationship.
had a cesarean,
She
and
had a
I
C-section,
was
right.
It appears Mommy took a U-turn when the baby girl stopped resembling the plaintiff. Though she claimed to have been truthful from the start, her social media, on the other hand, told an entirely different story.
It says, "Happy Father's Day to my child's father. Even though she's not here yet, he's already amazing. He takes damn good care of us. I'm proud to call him mine."
That's because he was there. He was there. He wanted to be her father. So
That was before she was born.
Yes.
Enter the second baby daddy, aka Mr. Flowers, who gave his 2 cents on the whole situation. Now, he claimed to just be here for the results. However, Mommy claimed to have a much deeper connection with the guy, and Mr. Ahmad did not like that testimony.
Everything been cool all the way up to this baby situation occurred. When it occurred, it turned to be a 50-50 chance. I left the situation right there and went on about my way.
But she says you take care of Nevaeh now.
She be with me at work and everything.
She does?
Yes,
And so
ma'am.
when you're with her,
I just don't know, Judge.
The moment of truth was finally here, but the air was thick with uncertainty. Mr. Ahmad's emotions were juggling between love for the baby and the fear of a plot twist. Time to see what the future holds for them.
the biological father is Mr. Flowers. Mr. Flowers, you are the father.
Yeah, that's mine. That's my baby.
But listen, you are the biological father, but I need you all to understand in this room that Mr. Ahmad is still the legal father.
We have a second timer here. Mr. Scott was previously questioning another woman, and now he had another one. However, Miss Callan appeared chill and had a tale of vanishing acts and online romance. Get ready for a paternity bombshell that'll leave you questioning if this is real life or just another episode of Who's Your Daddy?
It was determined that you denying you fathered the defendant, Miss Callan's 4-month-old daughter, Ezra, and today's paternity results will clear your name.
Yes, Sean.
Now, Miss Callan, you claim the plaintiff was excited when he found out you were pregnant, but then only a few months before you gave birth, Mr. Scott disappeared.
So, in the world of digital romance, their love story blossomed like a bad Tinder date. They met online, chatted for 3 weeks to a month. I mean, who's counting, right? And things got super cozy. But beware, this isn't your typical lovey-dovey narrative. Nope, it's a saga of suspicious phone snooping and trust issues that could make even Romeo and Juliet cringe.
She came to visit me. We hung out, we spent time, had a nice time that night. She went to sleep. I happened to go through her phone. I went through her phone.
On the first night, you guys had a date?
Yeah, well, the reason why I went through your phone, is because her phone.
He had no reason to go through my phone.
Her phone didn't ring all day, so I got suspicious.
As Miss Callan spills the tea, she unveils Mr. Scott's sudden disappearance, suspecting another woman in the shadows. Scott's accusations led to doubts, and the court becomes a stage for hurt feelings, trust issues, and a dash of online espionage. The drama unfolds as they question the foundation of their relationship.
You discovered information you really didn't want to know, meaning that she had other partners at the same time. So this is what
the reason why.
Has he got proof? No.
Yeah, I have proof. My eyes. My eyes is the proof right there.
At some point, you were intimate.
Yes, we were.
But you felt like she was intimate with other people during the same time frame.
Exactly,
No.
yes.
Oh boy, Baby Daddy seemed to be ready to give all the facts and more. But the plot thickens when Mommy reveals him to be a big, fat liar. It's an insane tale of revelations, motel mysteries, and intimate details, all leading to the pregnancy.
Yes, I did get pregnant.
And the reason why you didn't meet nobody because I have.
So you're saying, Miss Alon, that you got pregnant the very first time you visited him?
Yes. We had sex a good 5 times that night. Yes. So, I mean, don't let him sit here and play the role.
I didn't
either.
I took you. I never said that. I took you down. Yeah, I did.
Things were heating up, and they were about to heat up some more. It seems these guys had issues with each other for not picking up the phone when the other called. Oh, this seems like a messy web, and we are all left wondering, who's fooling whom?
You had a wife or ex-wife during the time in which you were sleeping with
This person and that person.
Yes.
Girls, only
That's
2 girls.
sad.
Don't be adding other people.
That's crazy.
Don't add other people.
And you're telling me that you're the person with the trust issues.
I'm a very smart man, you know what I mean? I look for signs, and I've seen the signs.
The plaintiff, the self-proclaimed smart man, delves into the evidence he found in the mommy's phone. By the looks of it, a few questionable pictures were enough for him to doubt the woman big time.
You submitted this evidence to the court.
Yeah.
You were
These
supposed to
are
be
the
my
pictures.
man. I was sending you something to keep you
I never
happy being
received
a
that
long-distance
picture.
relationship.
You
Are
didn't
you
get that
serious?
picture.
I never received that picture.
That's one of the first pictures I sent you. I don't
takes
take pictures
pictures
like
in
that, Your Honor.
lingerie
Come on now. Never.
in positions that was
Never.
uncalled for.
Never. Are you
Inside of a
serious?
motel.
Yes, it was.
Moving on, Mommy claimed to have never been in love with the guy. However, it appears these guys did share a few mutual qualities that ended up attracting them. Though, safe to say, it was a rocky relationship with doubts about commitment. Oh, they both did not trust one another.
He said he was family oriented.
Of course I am. I take care of all my kids, but how am I gonna have a family with a girl that's already texting other dudes? I'm not gonna even.
I would come down and see him almost every weekend. You would hide me.
I'm going to
Every
Lancaster
time I
to
went
visit
down there,
my
I never met
friend.
nobody.
And he says, "Oh, I can't wait to see you when you come back. Oh, I miss you too." Why? I'm not your friend. If I'm your dude, I'm your man.
Well, Mr. Scott seemed to be thrilled by the news first. Or so the baby mama says. Dreams of a happy family were shared and everything. However, it all went down the drain when the baby came into the world. All hell broke loose then.
Did you want to be a family with him?
I mean, I didn't know if that's what I wanted. I told him that. You know, I don't want to have a baby,
The baby
and raise
was mine.
it again
How come the baby
by
ain't got my
myself,
last name?
you know?
The baby don't even
Because
look
he
like none
wasn't
of my
even-
other kids.
The baby don't look like none of your. You told me the baby looks like you, Arsen.
Man.
It's okay. Can we just read the
She
results?
about to call me another name. See what I'm saying?
I was.
She's about to call
You
me
know,
another name.
let's get to the results.
Next up, Miss Callan was countersuing the plaintiff for childcare expenses and loan payments as well. Yep, the guy was in debt, though he didn't believe that himself. He was quick to shut that down.
You have receipts for the money you sent totaling $580, baby expenses. You have the evidence showing that you wired him money. The problem is you don't have any written evidence that shows that it was in fact a loan. A legal tip: if you're gonna loan money, get something in writing.
The courtroom was buzzing with anticipation, and these guys seemed to be only good at one thing: bickering with each other. The judge, sensing potential future drama, wrapped up the case and went straight for the results.
Mr. Scott, you are not the father.
I guess my assumptions was right.
Oh, I think you're stuttering now. Something has finally made
She don't need a father.
Because this woman was so confident to do everything that needed to be done to see if that was my baby, and it's not even my child.
Why not?
The sudden baby's arrival left Mr. Lamb in utter disbelief because his wife's sexual desires were on a leash, which led her to step out of the marriage. And we all know when such actions hit, there's no solution but a DNA test.
Mr. Lamb, you say your ex-wife was a serial cheater with an insatiable sexual appetite. You maintain she took advantage of your trust and routinely cheated on you in your own home, and there is no way you are baby Preston's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
While the mystery was lurking on, the plaintiff came forward and said that despite her bad marriage life, she was faithful to her better half. And the sexual encounter the hubby was hung on was proposed by him. Then why the fuss?
She's told me out of her own mouth that I'm not the father. And
Really?
I've heard from other people that they say that he don't look like
That is a lie.
After he was born, she told me she believes it was Jonathan's after the incident we had.
When he popped out, I made you apologize because he looked just like you. Do you not remember that?
No.
What's the point of creating doubt in your husband's mind right after the baby's birth? And he mentioned Jonathan's name. So what's the story behind that man and their marriage? Next, the judge asked them about the haunting incident, and the plaintiff explained Mr. Lamb's weird fantasies with Dear Jonathan.
He had told me about, the fantasy he had. I didn't feel comfortable with it, but I finally agreed. He took my phone and texted Jonathan and was acting like me and said something about us having a threesome. And Jonathan was like, I'm down.
I'm down?
Yeah.
You down, Jerome?
No.
So this was a good lesson of fantasy and turned it into a nightmare. I mean, who would be messed up enough to even think of such things? And now, instead of admitting his mistake, the defendant denied it and put all the blame on her.
He opened the door and came in on us.
Wrong.
And he asked us if we wanted to have a threesome. She agreed to it.
Wrong. His mattress was in our bedroom floor.
Why did his mattress have to be in your bedroom?
The kids was in a room, and we put his mattress in our floor.
What about the living room?
What kind of a circus did they have going on in their house? Who in their right state of mind entertains guests like that? So the judge asked him more about her flirtatious relationship with Jonathan, and he shared their sweet moment on his bed.
She agreed after she couldn't finish to try it again, him and her.
No.
She said since she didn't get to finish that time that she wanted to try it again and see if it would be any better.
This is just a disgusting case. So the truth is there was more than one time.
Yes, Your Honor.
Absolutely not.
I believe he's lying at this point. His friend and wife were never comfortable. Then how can she say this? Their accusations are swinging freely in the middle with no hook to rely on. Next, the plaintiff said that all three of them were confused about pregnancy. Then Mr. Lamb shared the reason for his denial.
I do know she has over and over told me that he is the father and that he looks like him.
That he looks like the other guy?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
She's told you this?
Yes.
I mean, I told him there were similarities. If we get to thinking about it, yes, but there's a lot of similarities between him and Jonathan as well.
Not all desires have to be taken seriously. And look how it made you fall into trouble that now you are standing in the court to figure out the real daddy of the baby. But regardless of their mistakes, the results were read to end this confusion.
Mr. Lamb, you are the father.
Living her own life without parents was hard enough for this 35-year-old Mount Olive woman. However, the sudden appearance of some random guy claiming to be her father has turned her life upside down. Done with all the false claims, Miss Agee was ready to prove him wrong today.
Over the last 30 years, you have searched to find your biological daughter, who you claim was taken from you as a child. When you found Miss Agee, whom you believe to be your daughter, on Facebook.
That is correct.
Ms. Agee, you come to court today to prove once and for all to Mr. Fritz that he is not your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
The defendant already had a biological father, a man named Mr. Buster, who had abandoned her while she was just a child and never looked back. Though she kept contacting him, he remained cold towards Miss Agee. That's why the woman was not ready to ride the same roller coaster again.
You say you're my dad, but if you're my dad, then you would have come looking for me. I live in Thomasville, a little town that you can find me. You found me when I was already married under my married name. You didn't find me under my maiden name. My maiden name, you couldn't find me. I live in a small town. I can go in the middle of the town and scream out Danny Fritz, and they're gonna hear me. You didn't come looking for me, because if you did, you would have found me.
And if you're wondering why the plaintiff never reached out to his long-lost daughter, it was revealed that he was incarcerated for a long time and was away from his town, but still visited Miss Agee when she was 2 years old. One day, her family ghosted him without a reason, and he began his desperate search for his daughter.
And I thought you was an old school friend because I didn't even know you were my dad.
Right.
I didn't recognize the name. I'm 35 years old, and you're telling me you're my dad? And I don't know how you got
and
my
from this
phone
point
number,
on,
but
I'm
you
going to do
called
anything at all that
And
you
I
want me to do to help you in your life and your children's life.
You say that, but
I think I've been showing you that, Angel.
no, you haven't.
Oh, why would you do that to him? Shutting him off her life was wrong. Then, Mr. Fritz said that he found Miss Agee through Facebook and texted her to build their bond again. But to the defendant's surprise, it was a complete shock, and she didn't like it at all.
You contacted me on Facebook. We were talking. I
Right.
thought you was an old school friend because I didn't even know you were my dad.
Right.
But I didn't recognize the name. And then I was shocked. I didn't know what to think because
We
here
were both
you
shocked.
are. I'm 35 years old, and you're telling me you're my dad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. What am I supposed to think?
She doesn't count his efforts as worthy. I know it must be hard to bond with this man, but still, she's numb to all his excuses. Regarding the daddy-daughter relationship, Mr. Fritz said that it started pretty well, but the defendant still had coldness towards him, which let him down. Upon this, the defendant attacked him again.
You do not believe he's your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm angry because he says he is my dad. If he is my dad, why wasn't you there? I needed a dad when I was younger. I'm 35 years old now. I've lived my life. I'm living my kid, I'm with my kids now. I'm living my life for my kids. And then he wants to pop up 35 years later and say he's my dad?
We know that she's hurt, and why not? For years you're missing from her life, and now you want to be a good father? It's not easy, man. Next, after seeing her constant denial, the judge finally gave her a moment to express her real emotions behind the anger, and she revealed her fears.
I'm here to help you. I'm here to be your daddy.
But you're putting out there that I asked you for money. I didn't ask you for no money. I told you what was going on.
Your father, or a man that believed he's your father for the money, he heard you had a need. His point was just to say, I'm there. I was trying to give of myself.
The hurt and resentment in the plaintiff's eyes were so much that she kept repeating denial and anger towards him. But now, with this situation in the court, it was clear that they wanted the results so badly to end the confusion and have peace in their lives.
You are her father.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about. I love you so much, baby. I'm so sorry.
You can't be that mean and not be my youngin'.
Mr. Figures played his A game with Miss Jackson's heart, and now it's payback time. Ghosting her with a baby, and now the plaintiff hit him back in his face to prove to him that he fathered her son. The terms of the past have to get resolved today, and to win this game against him, she demanded a DNA test.
You say Mr. Figures was a smooth-talking Casanova who swept you off your feet and out of your clothes and then left you with a baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
You admit to being a former ladies' man, but you say there's no way you fathered Miss Jackson's child. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Job Corps was an adventure ride for them, and Miss Jackson recalled the innocent attraction she had for Mr. Figures and their cheesy relationship in their youth. Wild thoughts of love and a hook of intimacy were an overwhelming desire that took them to the peak of madness.
At that time, when you're younger, sometimes people change their names. And I had another friend also. His name was
Mustafa.
She got a good memory. She calls my name twice. Third time, she called his name.
Oh!
Now, I admit I didn't stop because we was in the middle of handling it.
Very amusing story. It must have been a lot of fun to do this back then. And I'm glad he knew about the other possibility right from the start. Next, the plaintiff said that pregnancy was a complete shock for her, and Mr. Figures taunted that it was the Mufasa guy. But she explained herself on this matter.
Dealing with someone, meaning he had my back, don't meaning we having sex. But the person that he's talking about, he even went to him and told him, you know she's carrying my baby.
So I went to the guy and told him that?
That's what she testified.
No, I didn't go to him and tell him that.
There was doubt all along, but he never addressed it. And now he says he's not a runner? It doesn't add up. Mr. Majestic, that's cowardly. Next, the judge asked Mr. Jackson about his fatherless life experience, and the poor boy showed great courage in answering her.
She always told me don't run from your problems, so I don't run from my problem. I stick with her through thick and thin.
I have other children, and they dad come into their life. They come in, they take them places, they go here, they go there, you know what I'm saying? And it's always been me and him. He don't have nobody. I'm all he has, and he is all I have.
He is crushed with pain. And yes, he needs to have a father figure in his life, even if it's too late. The young man's tears and pain still did not affect Mr. Figures, and Mr. Jackson further shared that his father is meaningless to him now.
My closest friend, his dad died, but he seen his dad. My other friends, they all know their daddy. They all have needs.
You have a right to have that relationship.
I don't want that right.
I know.
My mind's already set. I'm done.
I know.
This moment must have been hard for the poor boy, and his hate is valid for him. Everyone would have the same feeling about a ghosted father. But listening to this, his mother broke down and expressed her frustration over Mr. Figures and wanted things to improve for their son's future.
I have dreams of him coming to my house, or we, you know what I'm saying, like we meeting up or having a connection the way I never had my father. This hurts. He's gonna put that mask on, but I want him to be able to take that mask off and be able to be on Facebook like, what's up, Dad? Or post pictures.
The mother-son had led a hard life, but today's paternity question was very important for Mr. Jackson and his future, so he could have a full family by his side. And the only way to find Mr. Figures' paternity is by reading the DNA results.
You are not the father.
Oh my God.
I hope you find that, because everybody should know who their people are. My dad wasn't there for me either. So I'm sorry for you, man. I really hope you do find out who your father is.
The hunt for the real father is still on, as Miss Lons returned to court to find her daughter's biological father. Previously failed and devastated in their last attempt, now with a new hope, they've come back to get their answer whether Mr. Randolph was the real blood of Miss Noel or not. Let's see what the case brings this time.
You claim that while filming your popular reality TV show, a DNA test determined that the man you believe was your daughter Elite's father was not. That it was devastating to find out that the man you believed was your dad was not, and you now believe that his brother is your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
In her own words, Miss Lons stated that her past reality TV life has damaged her a lot. And now she was clean and sober from all the mistakes of her youth and was desperate to find the truth today for her daughter. Then, Miss Noel spoke about her experience as a fatherless child.
I closed up with my mom. I also closed up with Vic, which is the guy that originally we, tested. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a bitter thing for me. I used to hide the story, you know what I mean? I didn't want to judge my mom, but I didn't want to be judged for it. I just didn't tell anybody that I didn't know who my biological father was.
Mr. Randolph shared that a confession of paternity by Miss Lons on the reality show brought trouble to him when multiple people told him that he was the father of Miss Noel. The suspicion was unsettling, and he only faced court to find answers. Then, Miss Noel shared a little about her childhood life.
From the time I was adopted up until 11, you couldn't tell me that wasn't my family. After that, I lashed out throughout my teenage years.
I gave custody to was my family first. They took care of me before you were born. So it's the choices and decisions that I made is the reason why the woman that you are today.
A lot is going on in this case. Two different fathers who are brothers. It's very complicated. Then Miss Noel shared that her adopted mother took her to the man David Noel, who was on her birth certificate, and he coldly pushed her away. Then the judge asked the defendant about his relationship with Miss Lance.
Her and my brother and their friend and I were involved in a relationship. We did what we did. Had I known that it was even suspected that I was the father of any child, I've always stepped up to the plate. I know she was pregnant just about every time she was pregnant. That's my brother's girlfriend.
So the groupies were involved with each other so badly, then sure, babies would pop out. And sadly, no one would own them in the end. Crazy how people make mistakes and never think of the consequences. And now, look how they're standing here doubting paternity. Then, the judge brought one member of their band, Mr. Robertson, to testify in the case.
It was just a group thing, you know. I never fell in love with none of them. It's just.
So you never were in a girlfriend-boyfriend committed relationship?
Never a relationship.
You can't say for certain you did not sleep with Ms. Lance during the window of conception.
No,
you don't know.
I can't say that. I really can't say that.
His testimony has added more puzzles now. So everyone is freely sleeping around in the band, but none came up with responsibility, and now stood here confused about paternity. Next, Miss Noel said she never heard of Mr. Robertson before. Then, Mr. Randolph further explained his uncertainty.
Darling, I wish nothing but the best for you. You look so much like Nefertiti and my children till, yes, we really did think Vic was your father, especially because of Frankie and his relationship. No way under God's green earth did I ever think that she was my child.
The actions of these groupie people might have brought them a lot of fame and satisfaction, but they surely damaged Miss Noel's life completely. Now, after all the testimonies, there was only one way to end this unanswered question of paternity, and only DNA could tell the truth.
Mr. Randolph, you are not her father.